Welcome to the Building Newfoundland and Labrador podcast, dedicated to exploring the interesting journeys of the people in the provincial construction industry. Presented by the Newfoundland and Labrador Construction Association, produced by Gale Force Winds. Join us as we chat with the inspirational individuals that ensure the continued growth of the construction industry and the province of Newfoundland and Labrador.
The Newfoundland and Labrador Construction Association podcast, Day 1, Women in Construction. We are better together is the theme, and I can't wait to get in discussion. I'm Alan Dale. With me, as always, my good buddy, Jerry Carew. Valerie, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
My name is Valerie Penney. I'm a director at large on the board for the NLCA, and I'm also co-chair for the first annual, I hope, Women in Construction event.
Valerie, a lot of great things happening in Newfoundland and Labrador in and around the construction industry. Tell me what you're most excited about and how NLCA can help companies prepare themselves for all these great opportunities.
I think the industry is constantly changing, and the NLCA does an amazing job of staying on top of what's to come, how it's going to look, what the challenges will be, and trying to get in front of those and keep companies kind of abreast of what that's going to look like.
That's a tough job, right? I mean, trying to manage all of the things that are happening, because every time you turn on the news, it seems like there's more opportunities just over the horizon or indeed right in front of us.
Yep.
And the NLCA has got to kind of weed through all of that and find out where they fit into that. And how do they do that? Is it through events like this, these networking events and things?
I think the networking events are huge, and then in conjunction with the CCA and meeting regularly to kind of see what's coming, what things are looking like in other parts of the country, and just trying to stay abreast of kind of what that looks like.
Now, today is Women in Construction.
Yes.
We are stronger together is the theme. Tell me a little bit about what you're looking forward to today in this seminar.
So I'm looking forward to bringing together women who are involved in the construction industry, or maybe even who want to be part of the construction industry, and showing them the opportunities that are out there, whether that's trades, management, somewhere in between, showing them that they have the ability to work their way up, and the opportunities are endless. It's easy to see kind of the hands-on piece, but there's so many other moving pieces.
Now, Valerie, you've been in the industry a while yourself.
Yes, about 15 years now.
Right. What was your journey to get here?
It wasn't quite the typical journey. I started out, and I think we talked about this last time, but originally I was going to do, I did engineering. I didn't love the work terms. So I kind of started looking at different avenues and trying to figure out what it was I wanted to do. And actually had my application ready to go back to do my education degree. And then I had a work term with a local general contractor, and I decided that that was kind of what engaged me. Something new every day, wasn't mundane, kind of kept me on my toes, forever changing, always learning. So decided that that was kind of where I wanted to go. So was offered a job with them when I graduated, and worked with them for 12 years until they closed down, and then kind of progressed to what I would consider a very comparable company, and kind of focused a little more on the project management side. Started out as an estimator, and then kind of became kind of dual, and now primarily into project management.
Valerie, sounds to me like once you touch the industry, you kind of wanted to be a part of it.
You do, and I do, or I did. Just to be part of it and see how it all comes together, and kind of drive by something and say I was a part of that, or to be able to see what you've done, and it's a pretty cool thing.
Pick up on a couple of your themes there that you mentioned in that work term that really drew you to the industry. Something new every day. Talk about that. What is it about that in this industry that's so appealing?
For me, it was, again, on work terms, it was a lot of the same kind of processes, kind of repetitive. With construction, and I've done a lot of renos throughout the years, and you think that you're gonna, this is what it's gonna be, but then you go in, you take a piece of drywall off, and there's something there that you didn't know was there, or the structure is not what you thought it was, or you find things that, so you're constantly trying to kind of regroup and make a new plan at the same time to not lose schedule and time. So you're trying to, constantly solve problems and find solutions and work with the owner and your contractors, and kind of it's a team effort to get you where you need to be.
So that's a great articulation of what it is you do. And I'm sure that there'd be people that watch this and say, that's exactly the way I think and what I'd like to be involved in. So that's a great way to introduce that. If you go back, take you back in time a little bit, I asked one of our other guests the same question, but we'll go back in time a little bit. You're in engineering school. What would you tell yourself now if you're going through engineering school about what's available in this industry?
I would, it's endless. I would say there's so many different roads you can do design. You can be on the front end of estimating. You can bring the project together as a project manager. There's so many different avenues you can go, and so many different disciplines and divisions. And there's really, the opportunity is endless. It's about how far you want to go and what it is you want to do.
There's not many places where you can say the opportunity is endless. That's a fantastic way to describe it. How would you tell people to prepare themselves for those endless opportunities? What should they do? What should they focus on?
I think they need to find a passion. I think it's important to love what you do every day, and not be kind of in a routine or rut of kind of just showing up. Mm-hmm. And it's really about, I think, finding that passion and following it and letting it kind of direct you to what it is. Again, for me, the design route wasn't what I wanted once I decided. And, dabble in, the work terms are huge in that it gives you a piece of what the different opportunities are. But I would think finding what it is you love and letting it guide you.
I'm going to circle you back to the NLCA for a moment. You've had leadership roles in the NLCA and are on the cusp of more. Am I correct to understand that?
Yeah, well, I've recently put my name, so I've been on the board for the last couple of years as a director at large, and I've recently decided to put my name forward for an executive position. So we'll see.
So you're busy in your role,
Yes.
and now you're actually stepping up to provide leadership to the industry. Why is that, Valerie?
Yeah, that's
Why
a
are you
great
doing
question.
that?
Why?
Why? You're busy.
I am busy. I think just, again, it's about always pushing yourself to do something a little more and give back a little more. Work is absolutely busy, but there's a great support system there, and it's about pushing myself to do a little more and not letting it become mundane. While the jobs, I guess, with kind of the more experience you have, it becomes a little more, I won't say easy because it's challenging every day, but just a little step outside your comfort zone to find something that kind of pushes me again, like the engineering did to start.
That's great advice, Alan, to other young women, isn't it?
Well, 100%. Well, 100% is great advice. And stepping up to take those roles and in your words, to give back. Right, to give back to an industry that clearly you enjoy and it's giving you so much, and now you want to give back. I keep reflecting on the opportunities, and to use your word again, endless. Like, what a wonderful time for a young person, man or woman, to be looking at this and saying, this may well be a future for me right here in Newfoundland and Labrador. Many years ago, that wasn't always the case.
Nope.
Right, but now it is.
It is, and construction's an industry that we've found, and I guess you'll see, even when the economy gets bad, construction still kind of happens. It may change how it looks. It might be renos instead of new builds, and but that's one of the first things that the money gets invested in to kind of rebuild the economy. So construction's kind of, we're always going to build things.
Right.
So I feel like it's an industry that,
Well, I just want to make, from my own perspective, when, for example, and I don't know if RCS is involved in this particular project, but when I drive by the Jag Hotel under construction, or the Course Science building when that was undergoing its construction, it's inspiring as a citizen of this community, My 15-year-old loves going by any building that's under construction. So I'm not sure if you realize the youth of our community are inspired as a building gets built. That's my perspective as someone who has very little, association with this association, despite the fact we're now telling stories. I think you as a member need to hear that. I feel inspired. My young 15-year-old feels inspired. So I think I want to thank you for what you're doing, and the leadership that you're providing with the NLC is really important, right?
I appreciate it. It's nice to get feedback and see people acknowledge what you do, and look at things and say, wow, it looks great. It's a lot of hard work goes to get there, and to see the changes is something to be proud of.
Yeah. It must be interesting for you to look at the projects that you've been involved in and reflect back on the journey as that went up or was renovated. You must have a very different lens on it than Jerry and I and our kids would have on it, but very fascinating stuff. Thanks very much for the conversation today. There's no doubt about it. There's inspiration in there for young people to say, there's a real opportunity here for me. Certainly women, there's an opportunity here for you. You're a leader in this industry. You continue to take more leadership roles. That is to be truly commended. So thanks very much for the conversation.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for tuning in to the Building Newfoundland and Labrador podcast, presented by the Newfoundland and Labrador Construction Association, produced by Gale Force Winds.